This is the Tesla Model 3, and some would even argue to say that this is the best value vehicle that money can buy. Some would even go as far as to say that this is the Honda Civic of the future, and in this video, I'm going to show you why. When the Tesla Model 3 first launched onto the scene, it really took the world by storm. Of course, electric vehicles were still relatively new, and they seemed to be kind of a niche vehicle. You know, we had weird looking ones like the Mitsubishi MI-EV and the Nissan Leaf. They were kind of funky and different. And then we had ones that kind of look nice like the Model S, but they were really unaffordable for the most amount of the bulk of the population. But then came the Model 3. And what made it different was that this was a highly desirable, beautiful, usable vehicle that was at a far more affordable price point. And now that the Model 3 has been redesigned very recently, just in the last couple of years, it's arguably one of the best vehicles that you could possibly buy. And so getting into this vehicle, you can see that the silhouette of it is a traditional, kind of low-slung, mid-sized sedan, but it actually has a lot more room inside than other vehicles that would be in the similar type of market segment. If you think about kind of mid-sized vehicles that have a gasoline vehicle, you have that firewall pushed a little further back, you've got a gas tank that you've got to accommodate, and a whole plethora of other features that electric cars just don't bother with, and they give it back to the owner in functionality, storage, utility, safety, and the list goes on and on. The Model 3 is an exceptional vehicle. I have seen these things rip around through the snow. I've come from Canada, as most of you know, and I've seen these things with just big rooster tails of snow flying up the side of them. I've seen them downtown in cityscapes and cruising through the desert, doing cross-country road trips. I have a friend of mine, Ryan, has one actually in a very similar color to this, and he's driven to Texas and back from Northern Ontario dozens of times across Canada, across the US. So I can tell you that the Model 3 is not only a beautiful vehicle, it's not only a safe vehicle, but it's a workhorse. The whole original concept with the Model 3 was to recreate the success of the Model S, but in a smaller, more affordable package. The Model S was a huge success because it was a very compelling vehicle. It gave fantastic range, great storage, excellent ride, great handling, lots of power. It was very spirited and interactive. It gave the driver the latest in technology, and of course pioneered touchscreens that were able to be upgraded and modified over time just simply with over-the-air software updates. So there was a lot of really cool innovation actually that came from Model S and trickled down into the Model 3. The thoughtfulness in design of this vehicle is evident no matter which angle that you look at it. I mean, even things like the charge port, which is hidden right here, integrated into what looks like the taillight, rather than having a big, ugly metal door cut into the body of the vehicle like you see so many legacy manufacturers doing. It's really quite terrible looking. Even a gasoline vehicle to have that fuel door, it just doesn't look very nice. And that's why you see a lot of manufacturers will take photos of the vehicle from the side that doesn't have the gas door because it doesn't look nice. But here with Tesla, they've thoughtfully integrated it and hidden it right into the taillight. And it's, of course, Tesla's pioneered NACS charge port. They use kind of a gull wing door type of vibe here, really kind of cool. The older Model S's had a swing out door. This is a little bit nicer and a little bit more user friendly. So I love that. The NACS charging standard has become the standard right across North America. And again, that happened after the Model 3 hit the market. But I believe that the Model 3 is responsible for the widespread adoption of that NACS charging standard. This, along with the Model Y, became huge sellers for Tesla. It really launched it. But without the Model 3, we wouldn't have the Model Y. And so there's kind of, that lockstep growth in Tesla due to the Model 3. And there's a reason for it. It's very, very utilitarian, very, very useful. And I love some of the features. I mean, even in the back here. In fact, let's take a look at the trunk here. Let's pop it open and take a look inside. And so as you can see inside the trunk here, you have an enormous amount of space. Both of these rear seats fold flat, and unlike a gas car, you have a huge underfloor storage area. In here we've got some floor mats stowed away, but there is tons of room for cargo, and there's even some companies making refrigerators that go down in this area here so you can have cold drinks on your road trips. Additional storage on the side here as well, and over on this side I've seen people store you know, gallons of milk and groceries and different things, even a watermelon tucked away in there so it's not rolling around your back trunk. But this is a power trunk. The button is right here to close it up. But again, just tons of utility in a really sleek sedan. I love what they did with the taillights here, kind of integrating that body color spear going into them, kind of integrating it a little bit. And I think my favorite feature of the new revised rear end is the fact that they gave it that Tesla Roadster inspired TESLA instead of the old T logo. This harkens back to the original Tesla Roadster. Really, really sharp looking. A little bit more aggressive on the lower fascia as well. We've got some reflector lights and reverse lights built into the lower fascia, and some aero treatment here as well to increase efficiency, aerodynamics, and cut down on wind noise. Really thoughtful vehicle, very, very well designed. Even the integration of cameras into the fenders, you know, they really just disappear right into that fender. These are the Hankook tires that they are equipping the vehicle with. I think these are, what are they called? Ventus. There we go, Ventus, okay. And size-wise, we're looking at a 235/45 R18. This is an alloy wheel, and of course we have these little aero caps that pop in there and give it a little bit more efficiency. And then on the rear, yes, 235/45/18. So square setup on this vehicle, 235/45/18. This is not a staggered setup, which again, you know, you want to be able to rotate your tires for a little bit longer tire life when you're using your vehicle, especially in a utility type of setup. So coming around the front, we have those LED beautiful headlights that are really intelligent actually. Work really well to light up the signs at night. They've got the integrated LED marker lamps as well. They work fantastic to cut through poor weather. Very, very well designed. I love the fact that they got rid of all the chrome as well. So traditionally the Model 3 had chrome around the windows as well as the door handles. So that's been updated and changed and just gives it an overall sleeker, more uniform look. Besides opening the power trunk, we can go in and we can actually turn on the climate control. I love this. The fact of the matter is you can do this anywhere in the world where you have internet connectivity. So imagine you're away on a flight, your vehicle's parked at the airport, it's a hot summer day, and you can turn on the air conditioning as you're deboarding your flight. You get through customs, your luggage, and by the time you get to your car, your air-conditioned seats are cooled and the cabin is at your exact desired temperature. In fact, if you take a closer look, you'll see that the windows are currently vented, and right from the app, we can close those windows, all four windows, just simply at the touch of a button. So cool. The same goes for cold weather. When you want to make the car hot and heat it up, you just hit defrost and it'll do exactly that. Melt all the ice off the back windows, the mirrors, the front defroster, and get that cabin toasty warm, as well as heat your steering wheel and your seats. Check this out, guys. You can see GPS coordinates. You can use even the summon feature as well to drive the vehicle remotely. I mean, check this out. This is such a phenomenal feature. And we can just press and hold this arrow. See, it straightens up the wheel and pulls the vehicle ahead. Just like that. If you need to adjust your car, you don't even have to go out to it to hop in, make those adjustments, and do what you need to do. So this one here is a dual motor, meaning that the front axle has its own motor, the rear axle has its own motor, but they work together tandemly. The cool thing about an electric vehicle is that there's actually no physical connection to the front and rear axle, so that helps it perform just like nothing else. I mean, there's no gas car that can come even close because you have that mechanical connection. In a traditional gasoline type vehicle, their all-wheel drive type setups are just nothing even close to something that's run digitally, because the adjustments in traction and power input, whether it be regenerative braking or the ESP system, are just done really instantaneously. There's no latency like you have with a traditional gasoline driveline. One of the other really cool features of the Model 3 is, of course, the glass roof. This is completely solar tinted, so we've got no risk of UV penetration into the vehicle. It is absolutely state-of-the-art glass technology, but from the inside of the vehicle, it gives you an absolutely beautiful, beautiful view. Let's take a look at that. There's our view from inside there. Just stunning. Huge piece of glass in the back there as well. Just gives you that open, airy feeling and makes the car feel so much bigger than it really is. All right, so Getting inside the new Model 3, you've got some fantastic features here. One of the things that I really love is that in the latest iteration of Model 3, they've added cooled seats, which is such just a fantastic feature, especially in a hot climate like here in Texas. It really comes in handy. Of course, heated seats came originally on the Model 3. Overall, when you get inside the vehicle, you know, you're really met with this open, serene, you know, it is quite luxurious in the fact that it's very technology forward. It's very clearly all about the driver, the user, and the tech on board. So you just simply tap things like the climate control, of course, and you're going to be able to adjust it just with a finger touch on the screen. There's no reaching for vents or anything like that. And the interesting thing about that particular type of setup is that you don't have to worry about changing between driver profiles to have your air pointed where you like it. So, you know, if driver 1 likes it blowing in their face, but driver 2 likes it blowing on their legs, well, that's the way it's going to be when they hop in the vehicle. It's going to remember each and every time you hop in. So there's people out there that are like, oh yeah, I want adjustable vents. And it's like, yeah, but that's actually a huge inconvenience. So having it set up something like this is really next level. Tesla also pioneered, I'll just add this really quickly, is that they pioneered not like a little motorized vent, but it's actually 2 different streams of air that basically will work to overpower each other to change the flow and direction of where that ends up. So it's air blowing out vertically and horizontally that meet, and then depending on the pressures of those 2 streams of air, it adjusts where it's going to blow in the cabin. So that's a really cool feature that Tesla pioneered, and we're seeing it in pretty much all of their vehicles. The main star of the show, of course, is the center screen, massive GPS display, beautiful maps. These are powered by Google. They are the best in the business. It just absolutely crushes Apple CarPlay. You know, recently a friend of mine and I had to rent I don't know, it was a Chevy Trax or whatever it was with Apple CarPlay. And there's all these people like, oh, is Tesla going to get Apple CarPlay? I'm like, it's garbage. It's absolute trash compared to the low latency, ultra fast, incredible resolution, very intelligent mapping system that Tesla uses. Yeah, I wouldn't trade Tesla's system for Apple CarPlay for anything. This is fantastic. One of the other things, right beside the screen, the next biggest player, of course, is the steering wheel. We have a small format steering wheel, really, really nice. Haptic buttons here as well. I love this camera button that you hit. Immediately you can see behind you. And of course you can see, you know, on either side, blind spot cameras when you're driving and that sort of thing. You have your turn signals, both left and right. And they're just quick touch of a button. I drive a Model S Plaid with the yoke steering, so something like this is you know, very familiar for me to just quickly tap and not have to worry about reaching around for a stalk or a stick or what have you. High beam is right here, and of course you can set that to automatic, and just a simple touch of a knob to turn on your full self-driving if you're using that, or even just basic autopilot. But overall, extremely easy to use. These rollers are, they go up and down, they go left and right, and they push in as well. So they're completely customizable what you can do with the function of the steering wheel, whether it's adjusting your mirrors or adjusting your climate, changing your song, all that sort of thing. It's extremely easy to do. Horn is just that simple, bang the center of the steering wheel, very, very straightforward. So a very simplistic layout. You do have a couple of buttons on the door. You've got your electronic door release right here, just a quick thumb button. There's an emergency latch. You just pull up on that and it opens up the door for you if there's no power. And then of course you have your power one-touch windows, and they're one-touch up and one-touch down. Super, super easy to use. Really nice little cubbies in the bottoms of the doors. They're even lined with carpet. So when you throw your water bottle in there, it's not clanging around, you know, loose change and that sort of thing. Again, just adds to the more luxurious feel of the door. On top of that, you have this beautiful Alcantara suede that appoints the door paneling, carries up around the dash. And then of course you have this really cool RGB mood lighting. I love this. You can customize it to your sound system so it throbs with the bass. You can have it change color with the, actually with the album art of the music that you're listening to. So, and then of course Rainbow Road, and you can have it do all these like psychedelic rave cave light shows and all this type of stuff. It just makes the vehicle really, really fun. Combine that with your glass roof, a killer sound system, just a crazy amount of speakers. They've added added speakers and microphones all throughout the headliner and the doors and the dash, all over the place. A lot of soft touch materials as well. Like the steering wheel's done really beautifully. What's interesting is that they actually put the stitching up the back of the steering wheel, so you don't see it down here. Plus it's not catching any dirt or grime, which I really love. It's not a dust collector. It's on the back, so you have that little bit of texture that you want to feel when you're driving down the road. That's really nice. And you retain this really smooth, sleek look to the front of the wheel. It's not broken up by having stitching and that sort of thing, kind of breaking up the vibe. So really, really cool. I love the fact that they did this kind of tweed material on the dash. I know some of the models now you can get that with suede as well, which is really pretty. Wireless chargers, there's two of them on the left and on the right, and there's a little divider here. Inside here, I can see we've got our Tesla key card. We can just throw that up there. But yeah, easy to use. They open up here. I got my AirPods and just tossed in the cup holder. But you've got some storage down here. There is power outlets as well. There's DC power and there's LED there as well. And I believe somewhere, it could be here. Oh yeah, right here, there's USB-C, more storage cubby. There's another light, and the storage actually continues underneath this section as well. So that's really nice. 2 USB ports and a full color screen that gives you YouTube, all kinds of interaction as far as climate and that sort of thing for the back seat, and that's mounted to the back of this armrest here. Really nice vegan leather interior, beautiful seats. In fact, Tesla is one of the only manufacturers that makes their own seats in-house. I know Ferrari does that as well, and there may be a few others, but Tesla's really one of the very few high-volume auto manufacturers that makes their own seats. They haven't farmed it out to another company, which is something I really love to see. Back to the screen here real quick. You've got a ton of multimedia. So not only do you have, you know, your cameras and your navigation and all your stats of your efficiency and your climate control and everything, but you also have a ton of entertainment features in here. So you've got YouTube and Netflix and Disney Plus and all sorts of things. And then you've got all kinds of games, and you can do custom light shows with the vehicle and all sorts of different modes and whatnot. And everything from podcasts. Apple Music is in here now as well. Spotify, which is fantastic. One of the other things I'll really quickly mention that's not particular to the Model 3, but to Tesla owners that are going to be using the Robotaxi network. This is something that I discovered. I was actually listening to a podcast on Spotify, and when I transitioned from my Tesla into the Tesla Robotaxi, it actually transferred my profile, which is really cool, and the podcast came with me, which I absolutely love. The other thing I'll mention is that when your vehicle is in for service, or you're getting a loaner, or you're even taking a test drive in a Tesla, you can actually transfer your profile into that vehicle. So all of your favorite music settings and climate and seat settings and all of your comfort, your mirrors, everything automatically in a moment transfers over and comes with you. So as a fleet vehicle, the Model 3 is really untouchable, really due to its technology. You know, it's just on another level. It just makes life so much easier. And when you get used to having that technology, when you hop into a vehicle without it, you feel frustrated. You feel like you went back to the friggin' Stone Age. So let's talk about the back seat of the Model 3. I'm going to close this door here, and I want you guys to get a really good idea. You can see that I've got the front seat set up. This one here is pushed forward just so you guys can see it a little bit easier, but I've got the front seat set up where I find it's quite comfortable. I've got plenty of leg room. Now, I am 6'2". My hair is just grazing the glass, but it is not touching by any means. But look at the leg room we've got here. We've got a couple of inches for sure. Really, really comfortable. The seats have kind of map pockets in the back of them that are on these elastic little slides here, so you can shove some stuff in there. We've got 2 USB-C ports down the bottom here, which is really nice. And we've got some climate controls here. So we've got our screen to kind of interact with the climate, as well as, you know, heated seats and the multimedia. We've got games back here as well. There's all kinds of, you know, beach buggy racing, cat quest, all that sort of thing. A lot of fun. And then of course you can kind of customize things. You can Bluetooth pair devices. I believe you can even Bluetooth pair headphones. So if you've got kids and they want to watch YouTube or Disney Plus or something like that back here, that's a great feature so that the parents don't have to listen to that video that the kids are watching in the back. So a lot of fun. One of the things I love about Model 3, and again, this is because it's an electric vehicle, is you notice that there's no hump in the middle of the floor here. So I can move my foot completely across, which is great. I can lay an umbrella across here. I can slide in and out. I can get around really, really easily. I've got tons and tons of space for somebody that's sitting in the center seat here. So I absolutely love that. Very, very easy to use. And that combined with the screen here, with the USB ports, makes it a really nice place to be back here. One of the other things that the Model 3 has is, of course, the fold down center armrest. So you've got two cup holders right here. This is nice and high, actually. Like, I'm a big dude, and this is super comfortable. Again, very nicely appointed too. They didn't cheap out on the back doors. We still have the suede inlays. Again, that's soft and that is padded. We've got speakers here. We have those carpet lined cubbies in the bottom of the doors. We have the same padded leather handles with the French stitching, which I love. And then, of course, the electronic release there, and of course, power windows. And what I really like too is that RGB lighting. They carried it all the way through the back, so you can really bring the fun to every passenger of the vehicle, which is just fantastic. I love this roof. We've got LED map lights built in here. You've got little coat hooks up top too. And it's actually still quite cool in here because we do have that solar tinting on the glass, which is really nice. There's a bit of a parcel shelf up behind me here, so if you needed to throw, you know, a tissue box or something up there, certainly there's room to do that. That's quite nice. These seats here that I'm sitting on, so they actually fold down in kind of a 60-40, so there's kind of a larger part and then kind of a smaller part. Let's see if I can fold one down here. So this one here is the 40 part of the 60. So there's one of the seats folded down, and I can access right into the trunk and put some long items straight through here. So if you got a set of skis or what have you, you can toss those through, and then you could still, I mean, jeepers, if you had to, I'm sure you could squeeze maybe a child here as well, if you had one of the seats folded down. But of course, you could put somebody here and then fold down the double and have even more cargo space. So back seat in the Model 3, it's a really nice place to be. We've got comfortable climate controls. We've got the heated seats. We've got the suede on the door panels. We've got the light show going on in the doors. And of course, we have our own climate with games as well, YouTube, Bluetooth, all the good stuff. The back seat of the 3 is, again, just packed with value. All right, well, we took a look at the front seat, we took a look at the back seat, we took a look at the trunk and the frunk. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to drive the Model 3 and see if it's actually the Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla or whatever you want to call it of the future. So let's go for it. So Tesla just has a quick swipe on the screen, no big clunky gear shift. Again, we've opened up and given space to the cabin, as well as it's one thing less to break. You know, I've actually owned a vehicle that had a Toyota transmission in it, and it had the neutral safety switch broke, actually, the sensor inside the gear shift. And so it actually left me stranded. So this is great because that's impossible that that switch could ever break because this car doesn't even have one. So I love that. Very, very comfortable. We've got the AC blowing on us now. Let's turn on some cooled seats. There we go. And let's pop in a destination here. Let's see, where can we go here? Let's go down to Galleria. All right, so let's go to the Galleria. It's on the west side of Austin, so let's go check that out. We're gonna turn on FSD. And we got Rainbow Road engaged here. That's a lot of fun. Just a super fun vehicle. Absolutely love it. We've got an autopilot menu here. So we've got, we'll do expanded visualization here so we can check things out and see what's going on. Here we go. So there's our expanded visualization cruising on Rainbow Road. Of course, we're kind of in a parking lot here. So FSD is going to hang a left here. And again, you're probably wondering, well, why did you just turn on FSD like right out of the gate? And I'll tell you why, is because this technology, having a vehicle that drives you somewhere, is really the biggest feature of the vehicle. You know, you can talk all you want about, you know, whether it's four-wheel drive or whether it's, you know, got a great sound system or plays games or whatever. But if that thing can't drive on its own, I mean, come on, it's not even in the same realm. And then forget about like aesthetic, looks, design, all that sort of thing. That's all very, very secondary. The bigger issue is fundamentally, can the vehicle get to a destination on its own? And the reality is that the Tesla Model 3 has the technology to do so. So that's an absolutely massive feature. And as you can see, we're just cruising along here with, you know, no pedal input, no steering input. It's just cruising along, doing what it's supposed to do. Super easy. I can tell you that the ride quality is very nice. So this vehicle does not have air suspension. It's a sprung suspension, but very, very comfortable. If the vehicle doesn't drive itself, then all the other features really don't matter. You can talk about design and colors and the way it looks and all the rest of it. That really is irrelevant if the vehicle doesn't have this level of capability that the Model 3 has. And so that's why I believe fundamentally that the Model 3 really is the high volume car of the future, because it does so much. And sure, they can come out with an even cheaper model, an even smaller model and all that sort of thing, but you're giving up on a lot of the value. I mean, this is still a super high valued car. And if you look at the price, go price out a Honda Civic. I mean, they're like 30, go try and find one for 30 grand. You'd be hard pressed to, put it that way. They are going to be well up. I mean, heck, the higher end ones are tens of thousands more than that. So not even in the same realm. But getting back to the Model 3, I believe it is a phenomenal value. It has just so much tech. It's such a pleasure to drive. Listen to how quiet this thing is. Okay, so we've just come up to a light. And I mean, I can't even hear anything outside. There's vehicles driving around. Big truck just went by. And there's really there's next to no road noise. Like, the tires are quiet. It's just an absolute pleasure to drive. And then couple that with an amazing sound system. I mean, you're really in for the best of both worlds. So when you want to crank it and be loud and everything like that, it's easy peasy. And if you want to just cruise around in serene silence, you can do that too. It really has a high-end feel. They absolutely nailed this redesign. I know some of the earlier Model 3s had some rattles and clinks and noise and that sort of thing, but they really have done a phenomenal job redesigning the Model 3. I gotta give credit where it's due. They've done a fantastic job. The ride feel itself is supple, but I have thrown it through the curves and this thing handles so well. It's got kind of a go-kart feeling, and part of that, I guess, is the smaller format steering wheel, the ratio on the turning, like the turn-in is really quick on it. It's not super divey, and it really handles like a much lighter vehicle. So I'm very impressed with that. Power obviously is crazy. If you pay for the upgraded power boost, puts you well north of 500 horse on these things. It's really wild. And they're just so much fun. Range is huge. Your jeepers. I mean, if you really push it, you can get some really insane range out of this car. But for your regular day-to-day, you're not even going to think about it. And even on a road trip, especially with Tesla's charging network, and all the other chargers now going to the NACS port, I mean, it's something we're not even going to think about. Nobody asks about how far a gas vehicle can go on a tank of gas, because they don't really care, because there's a gas station on every single corner. So even if that gas vehicle, I mean, I used to sell the Dodge Viper, and that thing got like, I don't know, 150 miles maybe on a tank, but nobody cared, because there's a gas station everywhere. So that's where we're headed with charging and everything. But being the long range, it is absolutely fantastic as far as range is concerned. So overall, my thoughts on the Model 3 are this: it is just a fantastic value. It drives like a vehicle that is way more costly than what this is. It has technology, so much technology that nobody else has. I mean, the amazing vehicle app, and again, especially in this mid-size sedan market, no one else has, such a phenomenal app like Tesla. Nobody has amazing software like Tesla. Nobody has the full self-driving like Tesla. And, just really that overall user experience, the refinement of the powertrain, the ease of charging, the massive network, and the list goes on. Of course, safety is paramount. I mean, this is the smallest of the Teslas that are available right now, but it's got the same safety rating as even the bigger cars. So, I mean, that's got to tell you something. So, super fantastic car. I mean, I know a ton of people that are using these as drivers, like professional drivers. And a shout out to my friend JC from Houston. I mean, he drives Uber constantly in his Model 3, and he loves it. He loves it. We'll try and get him in here down in the comments. JC, tell him what you think of the Model 3 from a professional driver standpoint. I mean, this thing is just fantastic. So, that's kind of where I'll leave you guys. I mean, heck, we said we were going to take this thing for a drive, and all we ended up doing was having it drive us. So the Tesla 2025 Tesla Model 3, there you have it. A beautiful ride, tons of power, quick, great brakes, super smooth handling. an absolute boatload of features, comforts, and safety, all wrapped up in a fantastic package. If you're looking for some extra value on your Tesla purchase, I'll put my referral code down in the bottom. You guys are free to use that and get yourself some extra value on your purchase. I can tell you that you would not be disappointed, even just to take one of these for a drive. A fantastic vehicle, and I can't recommend it enough. And so that's it, guys. 2025 Model 3. We'll see you in the next video.